Now, I'm taking a different take on what I'm going to say this morning, and I'm going to furnish you with a couple of short stories, but I'd like you to bear in mind the subject of joined-up thinking. It's something I harp on about quite a lot these days, whether it's relating to the NHS, the council, my team, or whatever. So some people are very familiar with me using those words. Now, a couple of weeks ago, and for those who know me, this probably comes as no surprise, but I needed to get away. I desperately needed to get away. I live and work here, and I just needed 2 days off. Most people get 2 days off, I don't. And I just wanted some peace and quiet. I just wanted some time on my own, some breathing space. It's been a difficult last 18 months. So I phoned a country house hotel, one I know, and I asked if there was any room at the inn, and explained how I needed to get away. And their reply was, "Pack your bags, Katie, and just set off, and we'll see you soon." I already felt welcome. I drove to that hotel feeling like they had open arms. And when I checked into my room, there was a personalised handwritten card welcoming me with such kind words, along with some herbal tea bags, a bar of chocolate, homemade biscuits, some bath salts, and a small lavender pillow spray. Not something that you would be used to receiving in an accommodation. It didn't take a lot for the person I spoke to make a massive difference, and it meant so much to me, and I was really blown away by this level of attention. It's the little touches. Yes, it took a little while to appreciate that I had me all to myself, and I walked for miles, breathing in the good old Yorkshire air. Yes, I didn't go too far away from here. And I noticed even more the new growth and blossom on the trees, the daffodils bobbing away, the bird song above me, and the deer quietly grazing. It was really peaceful, and it's just what I needed. And I also enjoyed the home-cooked meals using the best of local seasonal produce, which were highlighted on the menu, so it was totally on my wavelength. Before I left, I took a short drive out, and I noticed the traditional butcher, the old-fashioned sweet shop, the bakery, pubs that have possibly been there forever, and I clocked many brown tourist signs, making a mental note to visit these specific places when I'm next in the area. And I know I'll be back before too long, because I've already booked. My second story relates to a visit we had in the farm shop this Saturday from Mo Farah, his wife and his 4 children. The team phoned me and said, "You've got to come down, you've got to come down, you won't believe who's in the shop." So I said, "Please give them the respect and the space, and I will introduce myself and I will thank them for coming when they finish their meal." I did, and we ended up having a really lovely chat. They told me they were staying close by for 5 days, that they'd never been to Yorkshire as a family. They absolutely loved it, and they couldn't believe it was only 3.5 to 4 hours drive from London, where they live. They bid for this short 5-night holiday at an auction in London, and they were very excited to explore the area. They'd heard about Drewton's, and they'd read reviews. It was also recommended when they arrived, so they were keen to know more about the farm shop, and they asked me questions about when did I set it, why did I set it up, about the estate, the farm, the properties, the shoot. They wanted to know everything about us here, which was fantastic. We talked about the walks. They came walking around here, and they asked if I could perhaps suggest some ideas for them, places to visit, because they'd only been to another local restaurant, and they'd been walking, but they hadn't ventured too far away at that stage. They couldn't believe how lovely the countryside was around here and how different it is to London, and I have a feeling that they will be back. I must have sounded like a walking, talking tourist clipboard, because I just threw everything at them, totally being an ambassador for this local area, promoting all of your businesses as much as I could, and the area. They were very gracious, and we had a wedding in on Saturday, and they asked if they could have a look, take a look. So I sneaked them through the kitchens. We went into the bar, and one of the groomsmen came up to the bar for a pint, and Mo said, "I'm the new barman." "What would you like, sir?" And the groomsmen did a double take, and I said, "Whereabouts are the bride and groom? Do you think they might like to come and meet Mo and his family?" So they did, and they came out. Mo had some photos taken, doing the M sign, and, fantastic wedding photo opportunity. And he was just brilliant. He then went on to have some photos taken with the team, and they were just very engaging. It was fabulous. And they went away, and I thought, oh dear, maybe we invaded their privacy a little bit too much. But do you know what? They came back on Sunday. They came back for Sunday lunch, and we were obviously going to leave them to their own space on Sunday. And hopefully they won't, it won't be too long before they are back. So when I talk about joined-up thinking, there's something to be said for some of us getting together and offering an auction prize once in a while to a random fundraiser in another part of the country and create a package that is not only going to draw interest to the person winning that bid, but it will draw attention to all those people in the room. So I'm happy to talk if anybody else is. 2 examples of our joined-up thinking this year at Drewton's and the Manor Rooms sees us offering another free-of-charge wedding in a cost-of-living crisis. Many suppliers will again join us by offering everything from flowers, a dress, wedding rings, table styling, stationery, vintage car hire, photo booth, and photography. It's a great PR opportunity, but it's really positive to get everybody together, working together. It's just fun to be creative. We gave away a similar wedding package during COVID when we were restricted to the numbers of 15 and 30. That worked really well. It became a really good marketing tool, and working together, tagging, sharing and promoting on social media, again, will hopefully drum up some more media attention. And that's when I talk about joined-up thinking. And another example is this autumn in October, to tie in with our Pumpkin Festival, we're working with the 3 local parish churches and the 3 local village schools to have a harvest, pie and pea supper and auction here in the Manor Rooms. Hopefully, it will bring a real sense of community spirit, bringing everybody together and delivering something positive to all generations. So we're looking forward to that. Obviously, I am chair of the Local Food and Tourism Network, but there is a much wider and more important dedicated steering group team. We meet quarterly to discuss our food and tourism industry and how we can best promote and build on supporting local businesses, and how we can keep tourism in our area or returning to us and supporting the local economy. The steering group is always looking for new members, and you're under no pressure to attend for the 4 yearly meetings, but your presence is always welcome, even if you can pop along to 1 or 2. You may not even realise what you might be able to bring to the group, because once we get together, ideas and individual strengths develop into some pretty fabulous and wonderful directions at times. So if you're interested, please see Julia or myself. And for those of you who follow the Yorkshireman on social media, hands up, who follows the Yorkshireman? Okay, he was meant to be here today. He was going to come. He was very interested in being involved, and he's had to go to South Yorkshire, unfortunately. But he is going to come along to our next steering group meeting, and he is very keen to be involved in the steering group and in our network going forward. So I'm pushing that, and I'm quite looking forward to meeting him and seeing how he can help support us, and vice versa. He's got a fantastic following, and his name's Nathan. So before I finish, the opposite of joined-up thinking means confused, disconnected, disjointed, disordered, garbled, illogical, and scattered, incoherent. I doubt anyone here would like to visit this negative approach, so keep positive, Be creative and observant and embrace opportunities. Keep doing the best you can and with a joined-up thinking perspective. We have some truly amazing independent businesses in this room today, and we also have some key players from the departments within the East Riding Council and various tourist and walking groups. I'd personally like to thank these individuals for all their help in working with our businesses and for their joined-up thinking, for supporting us all so that we can drive our businesses forward and bring more visitors to our local area. Having the support of our local council is paramount to how we develop and grow in our businesses and in the community and for our local economy. So thank you. If you are a speaker, could you kindly introduce the next speaker following you, because it will just save myself or Julia coming up and that level of traffic on the stage. But for now, I would like to welcome to the stage His Majesty's Lord Lieutenant of the East Riding of Yorkshire, Mr. Jim Dick OBE.
Well, good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and can I immediately say what a great pleasure it is to be here. I'm looking forward to this meeting. I've got an awful lot to learn about the whole network and all of the activities that you've got, but I've been told a lot already and I'm pretty impressed. We all know about the importance of food and drink, and in fact in this role I see far too much of it, I can tell you. It's essential to our well-being and to life itself, but in the context of the East Riding, it's an actual vital component of the rural economy, and we know the East Riding relies on its rural economy for its well-being. I've been told that the local food journey began with East Riding of Yorkshire Council in 2002. It was supported in the early years by the European Leader Programme and has involved getting together with local businesses and partners, which led to the creation of the East Yorkshire Local Food and Rural Tourism Network in, I think it was 2010, and obviously you've flourished ever since. I've been told that the network now has 350 members, an active and effective business-led steering group, and I've already had some discussions about how the lieutenancy might get involved in that, with perhaps putting a member on there as well, so that we are kept up to date with the developments. And obviously it produces your very popular local food and drink guide. I think the 22nd edition is being launched today in the spring event, which is terrific. It really does spread the word around. And you all have these opportunities to attend business development workshops and networking events and exchange visits. And social media, of course, have to have social media these days, and the news bulletins. So I just wanted to congratulate you all on the creation of an excellent initiative and its effectiveness on an ongoing basis. It's been long-standing through all sorts of economic ups and downs that take place locally and nationally, and here you are, strong as ever. It's a terrific initiative. And it can only be good for the positive enhancements for the rural economy of the East Riding, which very much depends on that. It's critical. So I just wanted to say thank you for inviting me to be here at this spring event. I really am here to learn, and I've already learnt a lot in the first 30 minutes. I wish you all a very enjoyable day and continued success going forward. So thank you very much.
Good morning, everyone. It's great that so many of you have been able to join us today. I'd just like to start by thanking Katie for a warm welcome and for hosting our event today, and for all the team here. Thank you also to the Lord Lieutenant for his encouraging opening remarks, to all our speakers and exhibitors, and also not forgetting our wonderful technicians from Sparks, who have been fantastic helping us get everything set up. I'd also like to thank the Network Steering Group, who give their time voluntarily, for their invaluable guidance and support for yet another unpredictable year. Especially like to welcome Luke from Luke's Bakery, who's recently joined our steering group and is getting ready to attend his first meeting, and Luke's going to be representing local producers, because we have people from different sectors on the steering group, so the producers, hospitality businesses, independent retailers that source local produce. We've still got a vacancy for another representative. We usually have sort of 2 from each sector, so we have got a vacancy for another representative from the local producer sector. If there are any of you here today that would be interested in joining us. As Katie said, we're a really informal group. We meet 3 or 4 times a year and exchange lots of ideas and things, so it's well worth joining if you can. A big thank you also to our colleagues and partners, particularly Visit East Yorkshire, who we work really closely with, and also the Council's business support team, who have also helped with the funding towards today's event. Although it's been another difficult year in some ways for many of you, it's been great to see how lots of our members, you've all continued to adapt your businesses, come up with more innovative ways to keep going in these uncertain times. And I really do admire your passion and determination to succeed. We've got some fantastic businesses here in East Riding and the surrounding area. And despite us lost, unfortunately, a few businesses over the past year, I'm delighted that our membership has continued to increase, and we've welcomed another 52 members to our network over the past year. As businesses have appreciated all the more, as Katie said, the benefits of us all working together. If anyone here isn't yet a member of our networks, if you'd like to come and see us on the network stand afterwards, the network is free to join, so what's to lose? Over the past year, I've been fielding lots of inquiries, signposting members to different teams within the council. We're all trying to work together to support you all. Members have been sharing information and experiences on the network private Facebook group and the X account. I can't get used to saying that. I still want to say Twitter. And I've been producing regular e-bulletins. It's just a few of the activities that have taken place. Last July, we were pleased to share a stand with Visit East Yorkshire once again at Drewton Show, where we were able to promote local produce, our members, and all that our wonderful area has to offer to both residents and visitors alike. Mark from Holler Marketing, who was with us today, inspired us with a series of photography workshops during the autumn, which gave us all a lot of food for thought. In November, we sponsored the local producer category at the Reiters, organised by Visit Hull and East Yorkshire, which recognises excellent local food and drink producers, providing top quality produce to the local area and beyond. And it was great to see that 14 out of 16 of the finalists and winners were network members, many of whom are with us today, so congratulations to you all. The category we sponsored, local producer, the winners were Laurel, Vineyard and Winery, and we're going to be hearing shortly from Rebekah and Ian there, and highly commended Sons Poultry, and I think Robert's here today. So what next? Later on this morning, we're looking forward to launching the 2024-25 Enjoy Local Food and Drink Guide, which now has 52 pages, an increase on 8 pages on last year. We've also produced an e-guide with links to members' websites, and this will feature on the Visit East Yorkshire and the council websites and be circulated to members for your use as well. There is a link there which will link to the guide. Don't forget to take a supply of the guides back to your businesses for your customers. When you leave, we'll have some copies available at the registration desk or also at the network stand. So I think Laura and Alison will be happy to hand out copies for you to take back with you. We've also got some of the East Yorkshire Local Food Network membership stickers on the stand as well, for those of you who source local produce. We plan to run a programme of activity throughout the rest of the year, including some networking walks, visits to other members and further workshops, helping to increase our product knowledge and promote what's on offer on our doorstep for our visitors and all of us to enjoy. From the stunning scenery, great outdoor activities and delicious local produce to the amazing wildlife and fascinating heritage. Don't forget to look out for our regular e-bulletins to keep up to date with the latest news, opportunities and details of networking events. And just to remind you all that the bulletins, they're automated ones from Gov Delivery, so they actually don't come from my email address, which I know means that often goes into people's spam folders as well. So it comes from East Yorkshire at Gov Delivery. So just it's handy to put that in your address book if you're wanting to keep up to date with those. And finally, please keep in touch, share your news, details of any new products, experiences or events that you're organising. If you share them with us, then I can share them in the bulletin with all the other members, and then they can help promote them to their visitors and guests as well. So I'm really looking forward to continuing to work with you all to maximise opportunities to help your businesses grow and the wider rural economy. And I'd just like to take this opportunity to wish you all the very best for the coming season. And now it's my pleasure to hand over to Rebekah and Ian from Laurel Vineyard and Winery at Ake, who are celebrating, I think, the 10th anniversary this year. They're going to tell us about their journey to becoming double Rita winners, followed by Luke Jenneson from Luke's Bakery at Brough, who's only started his successful artisan bread making business just a couple of years ago. I think, was it Luke? Yeah. About a year ago, yeah. So, which is now going from strength to strength. So we look forward to hearing about that as well. And both of their products are stocked in the farm shop here as well, if you fancy going to have a look later on. So thank you very much, everyone, and I hope you have a really interesting and informative day.
To introduce ourselves, I'm Ian Sargent. I'm the winemaker and partner at Laurel Vines. I'm also the chair for Wine. I'm not expecting you to remember any of this. The chair for Wine GB Midlands and North. I'm also the regional director for Wine GB, so I cover all 7 wine growing regions in the UK.
And I'm Rebekah. I'm the sales manager for the Vineyard as well. We are a father and daughter team, and my mum's in the audience as well. So, yeah, we're a family-run vineyard. And you might wonder why there's a question mark at the end of award-winning Vineyard in East Yorkshire. I will explain. So, we initially started back in 2010, 2011, where we planted the first vines. We are based in Ake. Now, a couple of people go, Ake, where's that? You might know it as Yakabak of Aram. It's between Leconfield and Drewton. We are the back and beyond, 2.5 miles from the main road. But I promise you, when you go there, it's worth it. So, yeah.
Yeah. So people ask us, why do we set a vineyard up in East Yorkshire? And it's a really good question. I ask that myself every day. My day job is, yes, I do have another job, is we run a very stressful business, and I loved farming, and I wanted to do something that was way away from what I was doing in the day job. I also like wine, so it's a marriage made in heaven, isn't it? So we thought, right, okay, let's look at that, what that means. How do we do that? And when we was looking in 2010, there wasn't the plethora of information that there is now, partly due to to Wine GB's activities and Plumpton College. So you do the research. Yes, that does mean involved in drinking lots of wine. From all over the world, I admit, but you're looking at different wines, different wine styles, and different vines and different vine choices, which will grow and flourish in East Yorkshire. We're not in the south of England, so there's a big difference. When we first looked at this, there was 3 vineyards in Yorkshire that we could go and talk to, which were fairly new. 2 of them fairly new, so we were on the same wavelength as each other. learning from each other's experiences.
Now, when you talk about experiences, as you can see, this is how we plant the vines, so they are by hand. Now, the first 2,000, in our infinite wisdom, we decided that we would dig every hole with a spade. Safe to say, nobody could stand upright after that weekend, but they were all planted by us and our volunteers. We've got one of them there, which is Chris, and we still plant them by hand today with the help of a rotavator and a hole borer.
We've moved on a little bit from that. So when we put vines in the ground, just to give you a little bit of background, vines take 3 years to get to their first harvest, but really it's 5 years till they're actually in full production. But that 3 year period, we then picked our first varieties, made them into wines, and we'll come on to what we did with those wines and how we sold them later on. We've tested a lot of the soils and the climate around us, what the French call terroir, and it's looking at what that is. Our site, fortunately, chosen specifically, suits the growth of those vines we've got. We're fortunate here as well. We're on the Yorkshire Wolds, we're sat above a lot of chalk. Suited our vines, the vines we've planted. So, we thought, is tourism where we need to go? Now, originally when we set up the business, Ian, at that point, I was still only about 15, so not exactly great for selling wine. So Ian decided to take on the approach that we would sell business to business. So particularly looking at independent retailers, restaurants, things like that in our local area. So yeah, that was our initial focus, and then we began to change. So Ian, you sort of took over the first vintage, which you saw on the last slide. Yeah. So you learn many lessons, don't you, when in business? And the first year, we made 600 bottles of wine over 3 different varieties. We had 2 restaurateurs approach us, and each wanted to split it, so they took half each. Fantastic, had sold everything in their first month. But unlike beer or anything else, you can't grow or produce till you've harvested the next year. These restaurateurs now had all of our stock. Very valuable lesson. Don't sell everything to one person or to 2 people in that instance. I learned that very quickly.
So once we got on to 2016, you'll see a young version of me at Cottingham Food Festival there. We decided that, right, we need to get the brand out there. How can we tell people about them? Because it was just the first step into the unknown, really. And I spoke with Cottingham Food Festival, and we had our first stall there. Now, it was a really big success. And our wines also, in 2018, they won the award that you can see in the middle there, and that was Winemaker and Grower of the Year in 2018. Now, for us, after 5 years of winemaking, we found that as quite an achievement. And when that was the point, obviously, when we attended more and more food festivals, where we first met our end customers, and the response, a vineyard in Ake, we've never heard of it, began. So you might understand why I put the question mark at the beginning, because even to this day in 2024, after nearly 10 years of food festivals, I still get a vineyard in East Yorkshire, and then it carries on every time.
Yeah, I think one of the Beverley Food Festivals, we won, our Ortega won the gold, and we win many awards for the wines that we produce. We produce everything on site. Have we got any photos of the winery?
Yes.
Yeah. That's right. So everything's made on site. Yeah. Since we set up the vineyard, and part of this reason for setting it up, when we're looking at it, was we wanted to make it sustainable, a sustainable production. So we had to look at all the practices that we employed, whether that be the agrochemicals that we use for protection or the equipment. And we've had that in mind all the way through. So we've been looking at that and how can we make it better? How can we make it more sustainable? So we've transitioned over to, we engaged with WineGB and the Sustainable Wines of Great Britain, a separate organisation, and that enforces the realisation that you've got to look at absolutely everything, from water use, from electricity. So we now have 40 kilowatts of solar. This probably is boring, but 40 kilowatts of solar that powers the whole site. It's now battery storage, so all the energy we use is on site. We sequestrate a lot of carbon. We're aiming by 2025 to be carbon zero, and we're well on that way. We're getting audited from a professional outfit that will do that, and that will give us that seal of approval that somebody else has looked at it.
So from this movement, we wanted to then expand further into the tourism network, but like we say, it's tourism, but can we make it green to fit our initiatives? Now, our first venture was a picnic. It was a way for us to invite people down to the vineyard for the first time officially. Now, these picnics include a tour of the vineyard and of the winery. Now, it was brilliant. The first year that we did that, it was so very well received. And the thing is, from that, we then got an increase in our harvest volunteers, which you can see in front of our winery building there. Now, still to this day, from the year 2013, our harvest is picked by hand, by volunteers. And you might think, why on earth would you come and break your back picking grapes? I promise you, good Yorkshire hospitality is provided. Cook breakfast, cook dinner, and the wine with lunch, I think, helps. So last year we were very lucky to see over 200 volunteers over 3 Saturdays bring on our harvest of over 20 tonnes of grape, which was a record for ourselves. So yeah, it's going well on that front.
When the picnics were launched, we wanted to showcase what a vineyard and a winery in East Yorkshire looked at. So as a USP, the only time the wine leaves site, apart from bottles going for analysis, is with the customer. So the whole process is controlled by ourselves. You might call us control freaks, but I really want to make sure that I know everything that's gone into that wine and intimately. So I know that when I say to somebody, that is being produced there, we have produced it and we're in full control of it.
So on this slide, you might recognise some rather special people. So we were very, very lucky. From a tweet on Twitter at the time, but now X, one of our posts got seen by a production company in London, and they worked with the Hairy Bikers. Now, they asked if we would be interested in being featured on their Go North special. Well, I couldn't have replied back yes fast enough. And once the episode had aired, overnight our sales increased by 3,000%. Our website crashed 4 times, and I had to redevelop how we sent out packages of wine overnight, which included staying up until midnight typing up dispatch labels for everybody who had ordered. So they certainly helped us, and obviously we are very sadly missing Dave, and obviously that's meant a lot to us as well. So yeah.
Yeah, our aim was always to provide as much Yorkshire produce and showcase Yorkshire, East Yorkshire in particular, as much as we possibly could. So we've always held that in our aspiration, if you like. And we've wanted to enter into events, a bigger offering of events, should I say.
So with the expansion of our tourism, we've also added a new member of staff, which is our first tourism-based member of staff, which is Alistair, who you can see at the bottom here. He's our catering manager, which has allowed us to open the vineyard up even further. The picnics are still a big part of it, but also we now host wine bar days where people can come on a Saturday, just relax and have a glass of wine with the also homemade produce which he's made. And then also we do Friday food theme nights as well, which Alistair creates a menu, and then we obviously provide wines to go with that menu as well. So it's really added to the offering that we have. Okay. So, social media, I'll be honest, he leaves it to me, which I'm fine with.
I am useless on it.
So, I set up the account originally in 2016. I have no professional training. I'm not going to profess to be a social media guru or anything like that. All I did was put posts onto Facebook, Instagram and Twitter or X, and just sort of work off what reacted. Vineyard dogs, really popular. So I just sort of went with that for quite a while. And then over the years it's expanded. I mean, our Facebook following is now over 3,700, which I think is not too bad for ourselves, considering we only really opened to the public about 3 years ago. And then from that, we launched a new website. We're more geared towards the tourism side of the business, and then also making it a little bit easier for people to interact. I've also found that Canva, I don't know if anybody else uses it, but I find it a brilliant tool. It's free for most of the templates, and that's really helped me to design things like the wine bar advert in the middle as well. And our Facebook page last year had received over 116,000 views, which I felt was quite good, over a really broad range of the UK as well, not just in our region.
So for some people will already know this, but in 2020 it was a bad year for many reasons, but it was a reason for us to look at the Yorkshire as a region, as a destination. So I, along with 5 other vineyards in Yorkshire, there are more vineyards than you expect, we set up the Yorkshire Wine Trail, first wine trail outside of the south of England, and it still is the only wine trail outside the south of England. And that included Little World, which is just up the road here, and a number of others. And the popularity of that has been amazing. So much so, we're expanding that this year to include probably 2 more vineyards. But we're also looking at a Midlands and Midlands one, which you could probably call the Heart of England wine trail. As a wine producer, it does have its struggles. I'm not going to gild the lily on that one. Weather has a dramatic effect on everything we do. We have to choose the right vine varieties, as we said earlier, so colder climate vines, and we've got to look at how that impacts. 2020, I'll go back to it again, we had a frost event in the vineyard. It wiped out 80% of the crop in 6 hours. And in a business to be able to survive that, you've got to have some resilience. So you take that into mind, put it back in as a plan. We now have the French call them bougies, which are basically a candle, and that will stave off a frost event if we have one. And some idiot has to run around, light them all. They're every other row, 7 metres apart, and go around and light them all. And just to give you an idea, there's 15,000 vines, so I'll give you an idea of how many of those there are.
And it's not me.
And from a sustainable point of view, I don't want to do it because it's releasing carbon into the air, because obviously heating it. But from an economically sustainable part, I've got to do it. They're in the barn, they've been there since 2021. I never want to touch them, but they're there as an insurance policy. Other side, that one of the challenges we face is duty. In the UK, we are besides Finland, that well-known wine-producing region, we are the most heavily dutied country, at £2.67 per bottle. To give you an idea, France is 3 cents, Germany, France, Spain, Italy, 0. Can we have some levelling up on this? It would really be nice if we could. Whilst I appreciate that Treasury might not want to give up that 22 million bottles that we harvested last year, the revenue on that at £2.67, I'll leave you to do the maths. That's the ask we're asking for levelling up. And some of you may have seen Graham Stewart had been down and he's helping with us, and a number of other regions are doing the same thing.
Yeah. So yeah, I say in comparison to that, we are hoping that will move on. Now, with regards to tourism, for us, the main thing that we do, it gives a story behind the product we make. As we know, I'm sure all of you know, the customers want to know more than ever before about where is their product, where has it been, what is it made from. Now, over on here, you can see, now at the moment, there are 1,030 vineyards in the UK and 221 wineries, so we're still in that lucky percentage where we do make the wine on site, and for us that is a brilliant pull towards it.
If anybody wants boring to death about wine stats, I can give you it, all the chapter and verse, so please come and see me.
But yeah, according to WineGB, which is the governing body for which Ian is part of, we're classed as a medium vineyard. We produce about 16 to 18,000 bottles of wine a year. And yes, we do still get asked if that's for our own consumption. Now, vineyards of this size, you tend to find that 31%, according to WineGB, 31% of wine bottle sales, it's actually at the cellar door or through the tourism at the vineyard itself. So for us, it's still such a big proportion, which is more of the reason why, you know, we've had like help from Julia with pushing us into the tourism side of it and helping us understand and work our way through that path. But yeah, it is a big point.
Yeah, but we want to work with you all as well in offering the wine out to more and more. Exposure is everything for us, because we, as Rebekah's already said, we do get wine in East Yorkshire. We do get that a lot. So if we can ask if anybody wants to talk to us, then please come and talk to us. We're open and interested. The Midlands and the Midlands and North, 75% of last year's sales was through our tourism. That just gives you an idea of how big that is.
So where are we now? 2024, as Ian said, we've got over 15,000 vines in the ground across our 13-acre site, which encompasses our winery and also the barn for which we keep everything. We've also got another 20-acre site, which we're hoping to expand into as and when we're ready. We're also very lucky to have a state-of-the-art winery. Now, that at the moment can hold 30,000 litres of wine, which does include many French oak barrels for which we do our red wine in as well. And we're just hoping to expand that area, really.
So as far as the eco-credentials go, we want to build on that. We say we're very lucky to win the Rita for that this year, and was it last year as well? So 2 years running. You've got fingers crossed on you for 3. But anyway, no, okay. But and as far as that, I already mentioned about us looking at the sustainable wines of Great Britain. We want to push that because that's a big story if we can produce a zero carbon bottle of wine. Last bit of news I would give you, to be announced by the Environment Secretary this at 12:30 today. Will be that the government has just funded £1.5 million to training and education in viticulture and winemaking, which is going to enhance that offering. We've currently got one college in the UK called Plumpton College in Brighton. Not exactly going to serve East Yorkshire very well, so we've been working with ag colleges and horticultural colleges up and down the country. And that 1.5 million is to do that, to get more learning, more winemakers trained in the Midlands North. Just to give you a one flavour, if anybody's asking where's the furthest north vineyard, it used to be Yorkshire. We had one in Cumbria as well. There's a chap just going to plant in a month's time just outside Inverness. That's a challenge. Thank you very much.
Yeah, we just... Next is Luke from Luke's Bakery.
Bread. You all know what it is. It's been a staple food for thousands of years, but recently people have found it a bit intolerant. They've had, upset tummies, what have you. Why do you think that is? What's changed? I can't answer that question directly, but one reason that I think people might have found that is that the way we make bread has changed. So sourdough bread is made using a natural culture of yeast that's found in the air. It's all around us right now. The sourdough that I make at my bakery came from a starter culture that was grown on apple in my garden. Rolling back a little bit, it's a traditional way of making bread. So the Egyptians first made sourdough bread thousands of years ago, and it's the way that bread was made up until probably about 200 years ago, when yeast was cultivated and made in a more processed way. The bread that I make is from a starter culture that I feed every day using an English wheat flour. So I use flour from Drewton, so Bradshaw's flour mill. It's made using wheat that's grown locally. So again, it's a local product. Wheat that's grown in the fields on the Wolds. It's something that's really key to my business, something that I'm really proud of. And how do you make it? So I often get a phone call saying, can I get some bread today? Unfortunately not. It's quite a long process. So anyone out there that had a go at making sourdough bread during the pandemic, you probably know what I'm talking about. Start to finish, it's about a 24-hour process. So I start making the bread at 7 a.m. on a morning. I'll make up some dough, and then it ferments for quite a few hours in the morning. It's a very labour-intensive, hands-on process. So you're stretching the dough, getting some gluten development into the flour. As I say, it's just flour, water and salt. You stretch it, give it a good shape. Any flavourings that we add in, so we use a garlic puree and maybe some herbs, those are folded in at that time as well. Once that's done, I'll start to feed up the starter, so that culture that I was talking about earlier. It's just flour, water. I'll add some more to that to help me have enough for the next day to make my next batch of bread. Sort of about lunchtime, I'm getting there with some dough. I've got enough dough basically to make enough bread for the following day, and I'll then sort of start wrapping up for the day towards the end of the afternoon, and all of the bread goes into a cold room overnight just to relax, chill out basically. So as I said earlier, there's two components to a starter culture. There's some yeast and there's also some bacteria. It's a good bacteria, it's a friendly one that everyone likes. The yeast is what gives the bread its rise, so it gives the aeration to the bread and gives it the nice soft texture. The bacteria is what gives it the flavour. So it's called sourdough because it's got a slight sour taste to it, and that comes from the bacterial element of the starter culture. You can control how much of that sour that you get from the time that you prove the bread for, and also the temperature that you use for that fermentation process. So the blend that I've got, it goes into the cool room overnight, and it gives it my distinct Luke's Bakery sourdough flavour. I'll get up probably about 2 o'clock in the morning. Yes, I was up at 2 a.m. this morning, still standing, a couple of coffees. We're all good. The bread starts to bake shortly after that, and then I'll be baking up until sort of 5, 6 a.m. in the morning. And then I'll start to pack the bread, so everything gets, it goes out to, well, I've got about 70 customers across East Yorkshire right now. Always looking for more, so come and talk to me at the end if you're interested. It's wrapped, packaged for retailers, and I also sell to kitchen customers as well, so it's used on the menu in quite a few places, such as Drewton here. You can also get it in the farm shop as well, so take a loaf home with you at the end of the day, please. The bread sort of gets packed at around 6:30, and then it's onto a van for 7, and then out across East Yorkshire for deliveries, basically. So hence why it's difficult for me to make bread in a 24-hour process. If people come to me and say, can I get some bread today? Maybe tomorrow. Let me know. Who am I? So I'm Luke. I used to work for Lloyds Bank, and I did so for about 10 years. And then a couple of years ago, I thought, well, maybe I'd like a change. What would I like to do? I've always fancied having my own business, and I've always liked food. It's been a passion for me. So I thought, right, well, I'll have a food business. I wouldn't recommend it. It's quite a challenge, but it's very rewarding. The reward that I've taken away from it. So, I mean, I've grown so much as a person over the last year. As Julia said, I've only been going for about a year so far, and I've learned a lot in that time. So I worked for Lloyds Bank for about 10 years, and in that time I was already starting to think how I was going to launch this bakery business. So I went to a culinary school in London, Le Cordon Bleu, and I learned boulangerie, which is the fancy French word for making bread. So I learned the French style, effectively, of how to make bread, and sourdough is kind of at the key of how the French make their bread. That's why when you go on holiday to France, it tastes a little bit different to the bread that we get here. It's because they have a slightly different technique based around sourdough. So eventually, I sort of plucked up the courage. So I went to the Cordon Bleu in 2017, and it took until the end of 2022 for me to get things into motion and actually be able to create my bakery, create the brand that I wanted to develop. So in December 2022, I started to look for some premises, and in the beginning of 2023, I found, the beginning of 2022, I found a unit in Brough, And it was basically an empty shell, so just a corrugated tin shed, basically. And it took me the best part of, 8-9 months to turn it into a bakery. Obviously, there isn't a ready-made bakery out there that you can just take off the shelf and start baking bread with. It was quite a labour of love. I watched a lot of YouTube videos on how you build stud walls and how you install plasterboard and make everything up to building regulations. It was, quite a long process, working single-handedly to make a bakery. Again, if anyone wants to start a bakery sideline business, I can help you with that as well. So I'd built this bakery. I then needed to think of some products. What was I going to sell, basically? I had a very, my vision was basically to offer baked goods, all kinds of breads, pastries, croissants, French sticks, all the great things that you go to a bakery for. But I was just one guy, and there was a limit to the hours in the day that I could actually fulfill that. So I thought, well, what's there not really represented in the East Yorkshire region? Sourdough. There wasn't really a bakery in East Yorkshire that was offering sourdough to retailers and to kitchens at any kind of quality or scale that I wanted to fulfill. So I thought, right, that's me, I can do that. As you can see on the slides here, there's a few of my products that are available now. The range that I offer is basically a white sourdough, a white and rye sourdough, which is a blend of white flour, rye, and wholemeal flour. And I've also got a granary as well, which is a wholemeal flour with some malted wheat flakes in it as well, just to give it a bit of a crunch, extra texture. And also, as you can see on the slide, there's a few representations as well. There's a Drewton's farm shop, which obviously in the local area. We've got Badger and Bean, which is in Howden, a cafe, and Annika's Apron, which is a caterer. Annika works in East Yorkshire as well for a number of wedding catering events. So I'd built the business, I'd thought of some products. What was I going to do? Initially, it was just me. So I made the bread, baked the bread, delivered the bread. This was December 2022. It was a very long few months, basically, working single-handedly, making bread and delivering bread. And in July 2023, I'd sort of got enough business behind me to be able to employ my first member of staff. So I took on a delivery driver. Immediately, a lot of weight was taken off my shoulders. I was able to free up myself to make more bread, to then generate more sales, to then be able to take on somebody else. So by October, I was able to take on 2 people to help me make some bread as well. So October 2023, my staff had increased threefold, so I had 3 members of staff. And then in November 23, Dave joined me. Dave's at the back. Come and have a chat to us both at the end. Dave has been an immense support to me, a lot of help from a sales point of view. So thank you very much, Dave, for your help building the business and helping me generate more sales. And then last month, or a couple of months ago, I've taken on some help to get me packaging bread in the morning. So I've got another pair of hands to actually put bread into bags and actually get it out of the door a little bit faster as well. And then in the last 2 weeks, I've also taken on another driver, acquired another van, and also taken on somebody to help me make more bread. So I've got another baker in the bakery with me as well. It's been a bit of a whirlwind the last 12 months, I can assure you. So we're at 7 members of staff, and there's also my wife and myself in that as well. So 9 of us in total that actually are hands-on with the bakery. What are the challenges? So making enough bread is the biggest challenge. So I started off with a very small mixer. Basically, you could accommodate probably about 20 loaves of bread in that mixer. Since then, I've been able to acquire enough sales to be able to scale up and get a bigger mixer. So I've got a mixer now that can make me about 50 loaves of bread. I mean, there's still scope to get a bigger mixer on that, but we'll see. The biggest development for me, though, was to get in a machine that helped me to divide the dough. Previously, I was cutting all the dough up by hand, so you can imagine manually scaling out 100 loaves of bread and then shaping those loaves of bread. It was quite time-consuming, very labour-intensive. So it was a bit of a a debate for me, though. How much machinery did I want to integrate into the bakery, and how much did I want to keep it hands-on? And then also the sleep, which is more important. So I took the plunge, and I got the machine that helped me to divide the dough, and I've not looked back since. It's really been able to sort of push the business on and help me make the bread that I want to make to deliver to customers. Baking the bread. So I've had to find a way of making more, optimizing the space that I have in the oven. So I've found some machinery that will help me to load the bread into the oven and unload the bread from the oven. Previously, I was using a peel and individually getting the bread into the oven, which was also very time consuming. And I've also had to develop how I deliver the bread. So, as I say, in the last month, I've found another van, and I've also found a driver for the van. All of those things were, as you'll probably all know as businesses, quite a drain on my capital for the business. So I'm very grateful to the East Riding Council for putting me in touch with the Levelling Up grant and the support that they've given me in trying to obtain that funding. So obviously with any business there's challenges. You have some horrible days, there's things go wrong. I mean, last week we had a power cut. The power was off and on for about a dozen times across the day. I wanted to put my head in my hands and just sort of write that day off. But we got a really nice email from a customer to say, thank you very much, I've just had a loaf of your bread. I just wanted to reach out and tell you how much I enjoyed it. And those are the things that, when I said a little bit earlier about the rewards of the business, those are the things where you think at the end of the day, yeah, that's why I started doing this. This is why I'm in this business, just to, to put a smile on someone's face and know deep down that they've bought your product and they've enjoyed it. So I am grateful to all those people that do buy our product and enjoy it. What's in store for the future then? So the initial phase of the business is based around sourdough. So the sourdough element to the business, I'm hoping will take me up and forward for the next couple of years. But after that, I would like to try and develop more products as well. So the more traditional, using the traditional techniques of making bread, but try and broaden that range as well. So yeah, the French sticks, the baguettes, the pastries, the croissants, all those good stuff that you go to a bakery for. I'd like to try and incorporate that into my business if I can do. And then further down the line, maybe 6 to 10 years, how can I develop that to get it maybe further afield, to expand the region that I currently cover, maybe up to 50, 100 miles. That's the ambition anyway. We'll see what comes of it. And that's it from me. I was going to invite any questions at this point, but if you do have any questions, please get in touch. My details are on screen now, but we'll also be on my stand for the rest of the morning if you want to come over and have a little chat and maybe try some bread as well. I think we've got some samples floating around. Thank you.
Right, hello everybody. I am Mrs. M, but you can call me Sarah. And I was just introduced, I'm only half of the double act here today. I didn't think I ought to bring Bill because he would create mayhem, so it's probably better that I didn't. He loves people and he would be very friendly, but yeah, it's probably better not today. So I'm walking the Wolds and I am very new, so I haven't met a lot of you before because this is my first time here. I only started last September really, I suppose, and to give you a little bit of background, I've been in the tourism industry. I've actually been a museum director for 30 odd years. And last year I decided, well, enough was enough. I'd been in York for 21 years, looking after various museums there, including a very famous Viking one, if you work that one out. So I did that for lots of years, and I thought last year, I'll have a break, which I did, and I was very lucky to be able to do that. So I kind of took a break. I thought, what do I like doing? I like walking, so I started walking. And I discovered, I mean, much to my shame, that I didn't really know much about the Wolds, I must admit. I hadn't walked here, and I started finding lots of brilliant places with Bill. And so I saw it as this idea that I wanted to improve my health, I wanted to improve my physical health, my mental health, and I thought it would really help. And I did a few. This is one of the first walks that I did. This was, obviously, you probably recognise this as being Huggett Poetry Bench, and I love it there. It's such a brilliant place to go and walk. And the more I did, the more I thought, this is great, and I never met anybody. I literally didn't meet anybody when I was walking, which was lovely in one way. But then I thought, well, surely more people want to know about this. I also got lost quite a lot and ended up places that I didn't really ought to be. And I refer to this as coming a cropper, and I don't know, is that a Yorkshireism? I don't know. Some people, when I say it, I came a cropper today. So this is just one of them that I came a cropper at, and as you can see, this is the path. This is where the path went, and I scaled that ninja-like, and Bill paddled to get through. But so I thought, well, there must be more people like me, and I'm not unique. I know there's more people with dogs nowadays, and as I think Rebekah said earlier about social media, Vineyard dogs. There are a lot of people out there with dogs. There are a lot of people out there like me that want to get out, and perhaps are a little bit nervous and a little bit concerned about going out on their own. And also, they would want something a bit more detailed to go with, to give them that confidence, really. So that's when I started putting the walks together, all the ones that I'd done, and doing walk descriptions of them. Now, the other thing that I did, and I hadn't done before, is create the website. So I actually built the website because I thought that'll give me something to do. So I built the website, and I'd never been on social media before. So I started going on Facebook, Instagram. I'm still not brilliant at Instagram, but Facebook I quite like now. So I started putting the walks together, and I started on the website. I created pages of walks. So on my website, what I did was I did a full description of the walk. I do that as a PDF, which can be downloaded, so people can take that with them. I also do OS map links, because I also discovered the OS app, which is brilliant if you haven't got it. I know Strava does sort of similar, but I use OS. So people can use that, so you can see exactly where you are, whether you're in a ditch or in a dead end, and you shouldn't be, and you have to come back. So I do the walk description online. I do the PDF. I do the OS map links. I do lovely photographs, and we're very lucky in the Wolds. We can get some lovely photographs, and I am also very lucky because I do have quite a photogenic dog. So you won't see any photos of me on there. None at all. It's just the dog. So I take a lot of photographs, so they're on there as well. And one of the other things I started doing was useful links, because I thought, well, if people are out exploring, they want to find other places to go for a cup of tea. I certainly do. Piece of cake. They might want to be coming into the area. They want places to stay. So I put all those in there. And I'm also very interested in history. As I said at the start, I'm ex-museum, so I'm interested in history. I'm interested in archaeology. So I put various places where you can go and visit, whether that's a church or a stately home or just a thing of interest in the landscape. And I talk a lot about things like that. So it's a real mix, really. So I started doing that. I put the walks on. I started going on social media. I've now got 42 walks online, which are all free to use. Anyone can go onto my website, and I'd encourage you later to log on and have a look. But there's now 42 walks. There will be 43 tomorrow because I've got to write one up that I've done recently. They're not long walks. They're between 2 and 9 miles. So they're not for sort of your fitness guru. They're for people like me that want to go on a really nice walk, find some beautiful scenery, bit of head space, maybe discover something a bit new. So there you can see all the walks, some images from some of the walks that me and Bill have done, and the spread of them across the Wolds. And they're all available, as I say, to people to download and just enjoy them, because they're just brilliant. So now, when I'd done all of that, and I thought, well, I can do other things on the website. So this is the kind of thing that I added to it. So as you can see, it's all dog related, but it's all a little bit extra, I suppose. So I've got the page with choose your walk, so you can pick any one of the 42 walks with all of that detail. I do daily blogs. I do a blog every day. And then at the end of the week, I do have subscribers, and I've now got 400 subscribers. They get a roundup of the blog. So I don't bombard people. You're not getting something from me every day, but you do get something every week. And in those blogs, I talk about the walks that we've done. I might talk about a bit of history. I might talk about a bit of nature. What I call random ramblings is mainly what goes on there. But I think it's interesting. Anyway, there's also events, which I'll come into later. I do recipes. I do dog-friendly recipes. Bill is actually wheat intolerant. And so I started making biscuits for him. And they go on there as well. And I've got people who go back weekly, and I do one a week to find the recipe and make the dog treats. I made chicken liver and sweet potato yesterday, and they seem to go down really well. So that's on there. That's gone on there today. And then I do a Bill Loves, which, again, I will come back to, a membership club, which I will come back to, and Bill's Biscuits. So I also work with Brodie and Bertie's Bakehouse in Beverley. Let's get the bees out. Zoe there, who is fantastic. She has her own business. She makes dog biscuits in her own kitchen. All under licence, obviously, but she's made me a Bill's biscuit. Now, I should say, and I didn't at the start, you will recognise Bill. Not only is he a crazy red retriever, he has only got one eye, so he's quite distinctive, actually. He was born with just one eye, but it's never affected him. He just, you wouldn't know, apart from looking at him. So they're the kind of things that I've then put on my website. So it's grown. As I say, I only started this beginning of September. To give you an idea, that's the sort of growth that I've seen. So I've now got, over the 6-7 months, I guess, 123, 4. I think it's gone up because when I did this presentation, it was last week. So 124-ish thousand visitors to the website. So people are going there. People are finding the website. They're enjoying it. They're going back. So I just thought I'd put a few stats up on the screen. So 124,000 visitors, 10,000 new visitors. So from that, I think, and I'm not brilliant at this, but I think that's people then going back and back, which is great, because that's what I want. I want people to go back, find a new walk, and then do that one, or perhaps see something different on my website, find the recipe, make the... I did do a chicken liver and mushy pea recipe one week, because that's all I could find in the freezer. But anyway, he did eat that, and that was fine. So then social media. As I say, I'm not great on social media. I wasn't great on social media. So when I was managing museums, directing museums, I obviously had people that did all this kind of thing for me. Now there's just me and Bill. And to be fair, Bill's not very good at social media. So I tend to do it all. So I'm on Facebook. I'm on Instagram. These are the sorts of posts that I put on. So this is a variety of things. So everything from the walk. When I do a new walk, I will post about that. I will talk about history, as I say, something that I've encountered. All manner of things, national days, April Fool's Day. I don't tend to do dogs and cats falling over type of things. It's all about my walks, it's all about history, maybe archaeology, something like that. But that was just the April Fool's one, which actually was one of the most popular. I just did a funny one for that. But the other popular ones, I just thought this was quite interesting. I've just starred with a red star. So 2 of them are map-based ones. People love maps. One of them was showing the spread of my walks in the Wolds, so that's the bottom corner here, and I got loads of responses for that, over 100 or more comments, and it's still going. And the other one was in the top corner, was I realised that I got a gap in my walks. I'd done loads in the sort of central area, but I hadn't done that many on the east and sort of up that area there. So I just put that out and said, can anyone help? Has anyone done any really nice dog walks in those areas? And I was inundated. I was absolutely inundated with comments on that one. It was brilliant. Loads of people sharing and commenting and going back and forth, and it got a really nice conversation going. And I think that's kind of one of the things that I was really interested in, is creating those conversations, creating that community. And that really, I think, is what I'm starting to see now. Another one of the really popular ones was about trig points, which I was really surprised about. So I found a trig point when we were out on a walk, and I thought, oh, I'll look into this. I don't really know what this is about. Put that out, and I got so many people. And trig bagging is a thing. Who knew? But I'm going to do it now, because there's 63 in East Yorkshire that you can bag. So I've got one at the minute, but I'm gonna try that one, because I thought that was a great thing to do, and lots of interest, because there must be a group out there that does trig bagging. So this is my social media. As you can see, it's on an upward trajectory there. I've got 2,800, it says 7, I've got about 2,800 followers now, but that's from a kind of zero base in September. So, and it's going up all the time, and I can see, you know, the reactions to my posts is going up every time. So I just sort of stuck a couple of graphs on there. This one is just another one that shows sort of all the engagement, people going onto my posts, and it is on this upward trajectory. It does take a lot of work, and you'll know this. You know that social media, once you start, you just can't stop. And this is just Facebook. As I say, I'm not great on Instagram, so I'm looking for some training on Instagram to get better. But the interesting thing, though, is I think my audience is Facebook at the moment, because if you look at this is another stat. My audience is actually 80% women. It was 90%. And it is of a certain age, so that's my audience, and it's brilliant, because we get on, you know, we talk, we chat over social media, we chat in person. I'll come on to some of the things that we've been up to recently, but it's created this new community, this new group. People chat amongst themselves as well, and I think that's really nice. So that's my audience on social media. That's my audience, I think, that's going onto my website. It's more tricky to tell on there. But my group of men audience is growing. So that's good. So when I'd sort of gathered that there was an audience, there were people that wanted to do the walks, there were people that wanted to sort of communicate and talk about the walks that they'd done and do more. One of the things that I started to get interested in sort of fairly early on was partnerships and working in partnership, because I did a lot of that when I was in museums. So I created Bill Loves, and these are partners that all East Yorkshire businesses, the small businesses in East Yorkshire that are dog friendly. So I began to talk to people, and I have got partners in the audience today. I've got Alison, and I've got Alison from Church Farm Cottages, there's Jo from the Mile in Pocklington, and there's Elaine from Broadgate Farm Cottages as well, and they're 3 of my partners, but these are all the rest of the partners that I've got now. So essentially what that's about is helping each other, sharing posts, promoting each other. If you've got something to say, it's all revolves around dogs, I guess, a lot of it, or history. There's some, because some of the cottages I know that are in the Wolds have a really interesting history going back many, many years, and I can talk about that kind of thing. So I developed Bill Loves Partners. I started it for free at first, and it was about sharing posts across social media. I add partners to the website. I do blogs, and that seemed to go really well. So from that, I decided that I actually need to make a bit of money now because I need to survive and I need to get my shopping in each week. So I actually have now created a Bill Loves Partners. There's 2 different packages that I do. One is it's a basic listing. I suppose you get a Bill Loves listing on my website, on my members page, I'll come on to members in a minute, and a blog. When we launch our partnership together, which is a weekend, I normally do a blog that again goes out to all my subscribers, and then I do a whole load of stuff on Facebook and Instagram over that weekend. Partners on that package also become an automatic member as well, which has got other benefits. So I thought that, a reasonable thing for that would be sort of £50. So that's just a basic. But then I do an enhanced package as well, where people get their own web page, businesses get their own web page on my website. I do direct mailing, and that's a little bit more. But it seems to be going really well, and as I say, I'm getting new partners all the time. I've got a new partner coming on in 2 weeks' time who are dog training. So it's anybody from kind of accommodation that takes dogs, obviously, cafes, tea rooms, shops, services, products, I suppose. And that's, if you can see all the logos around the outside there, that is all my partners that I've got so far. I should say that some of them have seized this kind of dog-friendly business quite well, really. Jo's one of them, from the Mile. We will be launching her Posh Paws in a couple of weeks. And also Rachel at the tea rooms in Huggett. Do you know Rachel's Walnut Cottage tea rooms? She, this Sunday just gone, has just launched Paws for Tea. So she's been really enthusiastic about dogs and dogs coming into her tea rooms. She wasn't dog friendly, she now is. So, and they're things that we're working on together as well. I do Bill's Biscuits. That's, again, as I said, with the bakehouse in Beverley. And that sort of developing into supplying accommodation, dog-friendly accommodation, dog-friendly cafes with biscuits to promote each other, so they can sell the biscuits on or put them in a welcome pack for their dogs coming to stay, and I also get a bit of promotion out of that as well. So I'm exploring, as you can see, lots of kind of different ways to try and make this a business that works. So it's not only, although it is important, that it's about sharing this beautiful, beautiful countryside behind me, but it's also sort of sustainable as well. So that's the biscuits. The final thing that I just want to talk about briefly is my club. So this is the Bill and Mrs M Club. So if you're an individual, you can join my club, and there's various benefits for that, and I'm going to show you some pictures in a minute of one of them. So as a member, you get access to even more walks if you could want them. So I do more walks than are just for free on the website. Get a welcome box, which is very nice. You get your membership card. My partners give discounts, so if you go in for a cup of tea with one of the partners, you might get a discount on it, you might get it for free, you might get a free slice of cake, you get discounts on accommodation, you might get a free dog walking session. So there's lots of different ways to get involved. So if you have got a business, you can get involved and be part of the club as well with your discount, or you actually become a member as well, as I said sort of earlier. So I've now got 60 members. This started in December, so again, it's not long. And in fact, I just looked at my phone. I've got 2 more this morning, which was rather nice. So it's growing. It's people like me that come along, and they've all got they haven't all got dogs, actually. Some of them don't have dogs, and that's one of the things. You don't have to have a dog. It's nice if you do, but you don't have to have a dog because you might just like walking. So it is it's something that is a little bit different, I think, for people. And this weekend, Sunday just gone, Bill and I led our first ever members walk, and we went out to Huggett with, I had 24 people, I think, on it, and 12 dogs. And you might think, wow, but it was great. It was amazing. One of the things I should just like to mention is I do quite a lot on being responsible dog owners, particularly when you're in the countryside, because we do have to be careful. So I do talk a lot about the countryside code. I do talk, when I do my walks, I'm quite meticulous about where your dog has to go back on a lead, where there are roads, where there are stiles. And to be fair, there aren't many stiles in East Yorkshire, as Patrick will keeps telling me, because we are 95% stile free in East Yorkshire, which is brilliant. But I am, when there's ground nesting birds, that kind of thing, I do talk about that a lot. I put that in all of my walks, and certainly when I do a guided walk, as I did this weekend, I did a risk assessment and put everything in. So that's just another sort of aside. So we did this walk. This is the dogs that were first let off in a field where we knew it was safe for them to do it. And they just went, I think Bill's in the middle somewhere, but they all got on, and it was just incredible to see. So the dogs played, we chatted, we had a cup of tea at the end and a big slice of cake in pause for tea, and it was just marvellous. And the weather was amazing. So just a few pictures, and this one, finally, this is the group of walkers with their dogs. Lovely, lovely group of people. And I've noticed, on social media afterwards, they're chatting with each other, they're still keeping in touch, and hopefully they will all come on my walks to come. So my next one is in June from the Mile in Pocklington. I've then got one in September. We're doing a mini festival in September, walking in history, from Friday Thorpe, so that's at Seaways as well. Again, another one of my partners. So, it's kind of going really well. So if you would like to do a walk, please do go on my website. If you would like to become a partner, please contact me and we'll come over and chat. I will bring Bill if you would like me to. And if you'd like to be a member and join in with all of this, then please get in touch with me. Thank you very much. I'm now going to introduce Will Hall.
Thanks, Sarah. I think you've been quite modest there in terms of your social media abilities. I think it's absolutely fantastic. And we as the tourism team absolutely engage with that content, and the dog-friendly stuff's massive at the minute. So, yeah, thank you. Thank you, Sarah. And sign us up to the meet and greets for Bill, please. We'll be first in the queue for that. It'll be fantastic. So, morning, everyone. Thank you for having me. I'm Will Hall. I'm the tourism manager at Visit Hull and East Yorkshire. Visit Hull and East Yorkshire are the lead tourism partnership for the region, accredited and recognised by Visit England as a local visitor economy partnership. So it's great to be here. This event is one of my favourite events of the year. We've already had wine, bread, walking, dogs. What more do we need, really? It's great to be around like-minded people and businesses that have a passion for shaping and supporting our amazing local offer, and this network has it in abundance, which is such a strength and asset to our destination. Slight confession, gutted I missed last year's event. I was actually on holiday with my family in North Yorkshire. I apologise, that will never happen again as long as I'm tourism manager for East Yorkshire. So I feel like I've repented my sins by telling you that. Right, to business. So what I'm going to try and cover today, just really briefly, is a bit of a VHA strategic partnership update, an overview of some of the practical tools and things coming out of the partnership that might be useful for you, and also an update on our East Yorkshire tourism marketing and also events team activity. I'm going to have a few QR codes and links with some of the slides. I think all are going to be circulated afterwards, so if you don't have time to whip out your phone and get the QR code, don't panic. So as a starting point, and just in a nutshell, if we could break down what does the VHA partnership do, well, our vision is ultimately to empower tourism across Hull and East Yorkshire, and it's about us doing that by developing skills. So it's really about training, workshops, knowledge sharing, supporting businesses, to really building products, accessing funding and creating and supporting partnerships, and ultimately it's about seizing opportunities. How do we raise our national profile, attract new events, and ultimately celebrate success? And it's about doing that all all in collaboration. Public sector, private sector, all striving for growth. Growing tourism businesses, growing visitor numbers, growing our visibility, and ultimately the value of our visitor economy. We as VHA have a destination management plan that lays out how we're going to approach this over the next 5 years. And as well as that, we've got a VHA advisory board made up of a number of stakeholders from the breadth of the geography and the sector that have been advising, supporting and overseeing some of this. It's great to see a few of our advisory board members here today, including Elaine, who as vice chair of this network really helps link up the network with the partnership as well. We'll also soon be announcing a new chair for our Visit Hull and East Yorkshire Partnership and the LVEP, so watch this space on that. So I'm not going to spend really long on this, and some of you may have heard about local visitor economy partnerships, or short LVEP. We as VHA received this accreditation from Visit England last year. LVEP in a nutshell, well, we had the chair of Visit England attend our tourism conference last year, and in her words she said LVEP is the equivalent of Premier League, of ultimately high-performing destination management organisations that have fulfilled and matched against some key criteria. So it's recognition of that. It provides us with a top seat at the table nationally to represent our destination and benefit from being part of a wider network and enhanced platform. We did ask that if we've been promoted to the Premier League, if we get a cheque for £100 million, like those teams do. That hasn't arrived yet. However, LVEPs in the future, if a pilot in the North East is successful, will be encouraged to work with other LVEPs regionally across Yorkshire to create another tier of partnerships called Destination Development Partnerships, which will hopefully see some pipeline funding and some more support come our way in terms of the tourism industry in our sector. The North East, as part of this pilot, received £2.5 million, so not to be sniffed at, and there's 4 LVEPs as part of that Destination Development Partnership. For anybody who wants to find out a little bit more about LVEPs, please do let me know. There's another slide with, again, just some of the main benefits laid out, a real focus around sort of confidence for the sector, reducing that fragmentation with there being one organisation, a clear strategic link nationally, a seat at that top table, and ultimately there is support coming down the track. So it's really about how we can access some of that national training and support for tourism businesses and also our team as well. And we'll be supported commercially in developing and driving more income streams into tourism within our region. We've actually also just received our first grant since becoming an LVEP. We've got £15,000 to invest in some photography for our destination, which will be quite timely given some of the things I'm going to talk to you about today. So just really quickly, with all that in mind, that should just put sort of Visit Hull and East Yorkshire Partnership into context, how we work as a partnership regionally and how we work nationally with Visit England. So VHA is very much our partnership brand, our business-to-business side of our work. There will be on occasion where we want to go out to the consumer collectively, and we have the ability to do that with our rounded logo and adaptable brand. And as an example of that, if we were to do any overseas or international marketing, it makes sense that we do that collectively in terms of that visibility and also efficiencies. So alongside from that, you'll be familiar with our Visit East Yorkshire consumer brand, which we deliver our domestic destination marketing activity, allowing us to cluster up our East Yorkshire product and go to market as such. Similarly, Hull can look at their own bespoke city centre activity for a Visit Hull brand, and we do also manage the Visit Yorkshire Wolds, Visit Beverley and Visit Bridlington sub-brands, allowing us to do more focused or destination-specific marketing if we need to. And I'll come on to a bit of an update around marketing later. Just to bring that to life a little bit, just an example of VHA in action at one of Europe's largest travel shows in Utrecht this year, a show called Vacantibears. 71,000 visitors attended that show. We were able to showcase Hull and East Yorkshire to consumers, but also major overseas travel journalists, group travel media, bloggers, etc., of which we've been continuing to work with successfully since. Right, next up, I just want to introduce some real practical things, really, that you can get involved with and that's coming out of the partnership and the LVEP. So we've got 3 things for you today. Firstly, I want you to introduce you to our new VHA Digital Asset Manager, or DAM. So the Digital Asset Manager is a hub for stakeholders such as you to have free access to. It will have creative media, digital assets such as imagery and videos of the destination that you'll be able to access, download and use on your own platforms and websites, social media, etc. So some of the main principles behind this are for us to help encourage that cross-selling of the destination and provide you with images and content that enable you to do that, to support you as businesses to hopefully enhance and add value to your own digital footprint. I think we all recognise the importance of a good image, and we've seen many of them already this morning, and the impact that can have on inspiring a new visitor or a customer. So we think this will be a really helpful tool for you to use. Currently, we've loaded up just an initial variety of sort of coast, countryside, market towns and city shots as a first launch. So there isn't huge amounts of images on there. However, we have just commissioned some new destination photography for the next 12 months that will complement this system and provide up-to-date, fresh imagery on a regular basis for you to be able to access and download. So please do download using the link. The link will be shared afterwards as well. There is a free sign-up required. We will sign you up as a free VHA partner at the same time if you aren't already. Please do read the terms and conditions if using. All of this imagery is ultimately owned by us as VHA, and we want you to use it. But it's just highlighting the need to sort of credit and how we use these images correctly. So please do sign up, and Liz and the marketing team are here on the stand if you've got any questions specifically about that today. Right, next up, Big Welcome. So the Big Welcome is going to be available to all stakeholders and their staff working within tourism and the visitor economy, and it's supporting our ambition really to work towards being recognised as one of the UK's most welcoming and friendly visitor destinations through this new programme. So the Big Welcome training programme is focused at providing delegates with knowledge, confidence and motivation to share deep knowledge of Hull and the East Yorkshire offer and provide overview of excellent customer care as well. So the idea is, having completed the course, that delegates should feel able to give a positive impression of the destination, a warm welcome on behalf of the destination or the venue, understand different traveller needs, including accessibility and inclusivity, be enthusiastic about the region and all it has to offer, exceed those expectations of customers, and further develop their knowledge and learning, and ultimately able to cross-sell the destination and get people to stay here longer. So these are going to be delivered in person across Hull and East Yorkshire, formally to be launched soon with dates available. So again, make sure if not already you're signed up as a VA partner and do get involved in, again, another free Big Welcome training for you and all of your teams and staff. And I think there'll absolutely be scope for us to look at something specifically for this network and its members on that too. The third thing coming out of the partnership, and something maybe a little bit more familiar with people in the room, we've already heard Rita's mentioned a couple of times. So our iconic Rita Awards, the Remarkable East Yorkshire Tourism Awards, they're back again this year. I say familiar because the members of this network have a regular habit of doing extremely well in the Ritas, and it's great to be in a current Rita winning venue talking about the Ritas. How many times can I say Ritas? So there's some familiar faces on that picture there. The awards are organised by us as VHA. They'll be in the 14th year this year, and they recognise the significance of tourism to the area. They celebrate the quality of businesses and individuals working in it. And our awards are aligned with Visit England, meaning our winners will be put forward to the national awards. For those not familiar, applying for the awards might seem a little bit daunting, but it really is quite a straightforward process, and one that we hope will be worthwhile. In terms of potentially being shortlisted, but also in terms of business support and growth experience as well for you. So there's one online form to fill out, and if you're shortlisted, you'll be visited by a judge. Simple as that. We cover 16 categories, including everything from best hotel, pub, experience, local producer, and even best cuppa. And we last year produced a couple of really handy short videos with our Rita ambassador and VHA board member Blair Jacobs, who many of you might know, covering why you should consider applying and also top tips on your application. So make sure that that's shared with these slides also. We're also considering doing some application workshops this year, so please do let us know if that's something you might be interested in, whether that's online or in person, to really support you with your application and understanding of the Ritas. And if you do make it to the awards, they are quite the the celebration. People that work in tourism certainly know how to party. So just to summarise a little bit, just some of the key dates around that. Again, this will be circulated, but dates for the diary. We will be launching a big welcome next month, as well as announcing our new chair of our advisory board. One thing I haven't mentioned is our annual VHA Tourism Conference. That will be back this year, and this year's event will be at the MKM Stadium on the 26th of September. So please do put that in the diaries. You're more than welcome. And finally, the Readers are going to be launched next month, and then you'll have a number of months to put your application together, with the awards eventually taking place in Bridlington at Brid Spa on the 14th of November. And again, make sure you signed up to the e-news for future announcements around some of these. We are also developing a business-to-business VHA Hub website. We do have a VHA website at the minute, but all this information will be on that joint VHA partnership website. So I just want to finish today really just updating on some of our East Yorkshire specific marketing and events activity. Continuous development of our Visit East Yorkshire website and social media channels is key, really maximising our visibility and traffic across our platforms. We've been working hard on improving SEO on our website and really creating engaging, informative and inspiring content. Please do make sure you're linking your customers up with our site for more inspiration and to find out what's going on. The team are continuously building and planning itineraries for national, international travel media and journalists, as well as influencers. These give us a great opportunity to amplify our messaging to wider audiences, and on occasion we may approach you as a business to be part of those itineraries, and we're really grateful for the support we've received over the last sort of few years with some of those opportunities. I hope a few of you caught Andy Oliver's Fabulous Feast on BBC. The episode focused on Bridlington and Bridlington Lobster, a great example of how sort of the media coverage and that national coverage can really help amplify a destination and the businesses within it. There is still a demand for print and brochures and guides, as we see across our tourist information centres, and also the requests we receive nationally for our guides. Lots of advertising opportunities for you as businesses to get involved with, so please do reach out if you're interested. If you would like any guides, do visit any of our tourist information centres. We've got one at the minute in Beverley Customer Service Centre, and the other one at Bridlington Spa, and the team are on hand to help you with any of that, and also any info or listings that you may need. There's been a bit of a resurgence in the popularity of shows and exhibitions in the last few years following COVID. More and more attendees, so we're getting ourselves out there visible nationally and internationally, selling the destination, selling East Yorkshire. We'll be exhibiting at the Great Yorkshire Show in Harrogate, we'll be at the Meeting Show in London, and many more this year as well. Competitions are a great way of incentivising future visits to a range of demographics, and also collecting data and retargeting customers. We've currently got an afternoon tea competition live here at Drewton's that's already reached over 50,000 people. We've also got a competition for a luxury overnight stay at Ticton Grange, looking at the audiences and the different consumers around that. And it's really good to see families and friends sharing our posts and really engaging with our platforms and seeing what else the destination has to offer. We also will have a focus on our campaigns looking at value and dog-friendly. In line with some of the key trends and insights that we're seeing, we as a rural location can offer exceptional quality but for real value. So that provides us with a really great opportunity to match our product with some of those consumer sentiments that we are seeing. And the key thing for us when it comes to marketing is please do engage. Content for us is key. Tell us about your new offers, what you're doing, any developments. The more the marketing team know what is happening, the more we can push your offer. And the team are trying to get out there as much as possible, so please do invite them and me along to your amazing places, and we'll see how we can support you, particularly the vineyards, please. So just to bring that just to life a little bit, just a really small example of some of the short, snappy, engaging content that we use on our social media. Lindsay, who's here today, is our digital marketing officer. She's really developed our social media over the last few years with some really engaging and snappy content. So just a little example. So make makes you want to go, doesn't it? And I'm already here. so just an example of some of the stuff we're doing on our social media, and we're really seeing some really great engagement with that, and people diverting to our website and ultimately to you as businesses. I've mentioned brochures, just a real snapshot of some of the recently published guides we've been working on. That QR code will take you to the brochure section on our website. All of these copies are downloadable. There's more than just these 3 guides. Our main Bridlington and East Yorkshire holiday guide launched in January, and we saw almost 2,000 requests in the first few weeks. So visitors are not only just getting these guides, but we're able to capture their data and retarget them with different marketing techniques. So just finally on to events. We've got such a diverse and rich events calendar as East Yorkshire. They play a really important role for tourism and attracting new visitors and getting bums in beds and day visitors to the area. Just on the events supported and delivered by our in-house events team, you can see some of the numbers there. So £10 million generated to the local economy in terms of day and overnight visitors, 18,000 bed nights because of these events, over 200,000 people attending these events, and we're seeing a real increase again off the back of the pandemic with some of these events and how attendance at events is rising. We supported and delivered over 40 events ourselves as Visit East Yorkshire and our Visit East Yorkshire events team, and we really operate off a return of investment basis. For every £1 we're putting into an event, we're generating £39 for the economy, which is fantastic. So just a couple of event highlights. We've got so many great events, but just a couple I wanted to pull out for you today. Firstly, 2 events going from strength to strength on the coast in Race the Waves and Bridlington Kite Festival, both free to attend events, bring lots of people to the area. They're uniquely East Yorkshire, and the Kite Festival just interestingly captured the attention of The One Show on BBC. We had a conversation with them on Friday, so we're looking to work with them and to get some really good coverage of the destination and Bridlington and that event. We've had some great cycling events across our patch in recent years. This year sees a return of the British Cycling Elite Town Centre Series on the 19th of July in Beverley. And also a couple of events that sort of pan over a number of days, such as Heritage Open Days, England's largest festival of history and culture. We play an active role across Hull and East Yorkshire with one of the largest programmes in the whole country. Thanks to John and Chris that I know are here today and work really hard with a lot of partners across the region to make sure that's a success it is. So please do engage with that. We also do walking, cycling and all things outdoors rather brilliantly. So our Walking East Yorkshire Festival works with many partners and showcases that every September. And we're also pleased to announce we've been working hard the last few years to get the World Pool Championships in Bridlington for this October. So this will be over 1,000 players over a couple of weeks coming and stopping in East Yorkshire. We've already had confirmed over 100 players coming alone from Australia. It's a real economic driver that supports tourism out of season and brings in that return of investment and growth across the sector. And finally, we do really good stuff at Christmas time in East Yorkshire, but the Beverley Festival of Christmas is one of the biggest of its kind. Saw around 80 coaches visit the event last year, and that's back this year on the 8th of December. So just finally, how you can get involved with some of that, besides sort of telling your customers about some of these events. There are often opportunities to get involved with these events, either as a stall holder or a sponsor. Please do come and speak to us. Don't forget to submit your own local events onto our website so we can promote them. As mentioned, make sure you're already a VHA partner and you're receiving our e-news, and we can keep you up to date with the events, announcements and key dates. Events can provide really good opportunities to provide local offers, and these events often give a great opportunity as well to share exciting and engaging content across your social media channels. So please do share some of our content, but as well also embrace that yourself and get involved with some of these events. And finally, there are small events grants available for local tourism-based events that are available. So again, there's a criteria around that, but if you think you might qualify, please do come speak to us and we can see how we can support your events that impact tourism. So that's me. I tried to cover a number of bases for you today. Hopefully some updates and some of the projects that you can get involved with have been useful. Please do visit the stand and the team and come speak to us after. But thank you very much for having me. And I'll introduce Dawn Hall, our Business Support Manager, to speak next.
Morning all, afternoon. prior to me being the second to last speaker and handing over to Helen, I'm conscious at these events that one of the best things that comes out of it as well is the lunch. So on that basis, hopefully, I can speed this up a little bit and make sure that we don't make any gorgeous lunch. You waiting for it on that side. As they've rightly said, my name is Dawn Hall. I'm the Business Support Services Manager for the East Riding of Yorkshire Council. And what we do is that we offer support to our business community. We're part of economic development, and ultimately our strapline a little bit is how do we grow our economy? We can't grow it, it's you as businesses that grow it. So therefore we need to work with you to help you in as many ways as we possibly can. We're doing that through two ways. One is offering a very comprehensive range of services for startups all the way through to established businesses. So it doesn't matter what sector you're from, what size of business you are, what age of business you are, we can support. But what we also do is continuously work with other sectors and partners to ensure that we develop those services and bring that business intelligence down to yourselves as well. So it's about from working upwards with yourself, but working downwards and making sure you've got all the evidence and support that you need to be involved in the opportunities that come to this region. So, how do we ensure you gain access to the support that we directly offer? So, let's give you a quick run through. I'm conscious there's a lot of businesses in the room that we already deal with and have access to our services. But if you're not aware of some of these, please come and speak to myself or Catherine later on, and we're happy to go through them with you. Easy option. We've now got our new marketing in place. It's been in place for 6 months now. Hopefully it clearly shows what we do on the tin. Very briefly, we're going to run through each of those and give you an idea of what that means. So, one-to-one advice. As a team, we have a team of advisors. Those advisors come from commercial backgrounds, from different sectors, from different types of organisations, and ultimately what we want to do is ensure that we are that neutral person for you to have a chat with. We are not here to sell you anything, we are there to listen and to see how we can support and, more importantly, help you gain access to what you need to develop and grow, no matter what stage of your business that is, accordingly. So we'll look at your business as a whole, all the way through. We will look at it from a business plan perspective. We will look at it ensuring that we've covered everything, but we'll also be that account manager for you, so you've got the opportunity of literally coming and talking to us, or just being somebody at the end of that phone to have a conversation. As well as one-to-one, we do events. We have a full workshop and events programme. We've had conversations said today about wanting to do more around social media understanding. We've had conversations about using Canva and Instagram. We have a full workshop programme. It's available on our website. We are usually 3 months in advance. And as East Riding, we directly work with Hull City Council as well. And all of our workshops and events are free of charge for all businesses within our region. So please do make the most of those and have a look at the website and see how we can support them. As well as that, though, we do have Meet the Buyer events, and I'm going to come on to Supply Chain Network, which is one of our key resources, just in a moment. But the whole idea is when we all hear about big organisations coming to the area, whether it's Siemens Mobility building a rail factory, or whether we have the Ministry of Justice building a new prison, ultimately they need suppliers. So one of the things we like to do as well and want to ensure we get across to everybody is help you understand the opportunities that could be there for you. And that usually starts with accommodation for those companies that are coming in to build the things. So that is one of the biggest things we do, is actually work with the Visit East Yorkshire team and basically promote our accommodation providers to ensure that they get maximum benefit out of it. We also have a resource portal. The reason for that resource portal is we all know business is, when you talk about business, it's not just a little bit of this and a little bit of that. Business includes everything from finance to marketing to people, all the way through. So as well as talking to us, we also have an online resource portal that gives you easy access links to some of the key services that are out there from gov.uk, potentially ACAS, etc., but also with regard to any of the developments that we have done or brochures or directories that we have available. We also do regular email alerts, so if you're not good at keeping up to date of changes in the law, ultimately every fortnight we do you a reminder. So you don't forget to get your tax returns in, you don't forget that basically, yes, unfortunately, you have to pay your staff more money from the beginning of April because minimum wage has gone up. But what we do is try and encourage and ensure that we get that information across to you. Biggest one that everybody likes from us is grants. So yes, we also have funding. We have financial assistance to help you to develop and grow. Unlike European funding, which is where most of our money came from previously, what would happen is you could literally go to a number of people and get grants for IT, you could get grants for infrastructure, you could get grants for. And what we found was that businesses were having to go to 5, 6, 7 different people. What we've tried to do through the new funding schemes is basically say, we will offer a range of grants, but the grants are based on your needs, not specifically one subject or one offer. So it's split slightly differently. The first way it's split is revenue grants. Basically, do you need some support, whether that be with your marketing, whether you need to get special help and consultation with marketing specialists. If it's classed as revenue, we can do 50% grants up to £5,000. And what our team will do, will directly work with you to put them into place, help you with the application process and how we can support. But it may not be revenue that you need. It may be capital projects that you need. So what we say is the capital projects, we split slightly. The first one is movable assets. Our viewpoint is, if it's movable and you decide to move out of the East Riding, we won't necessarily give you as much money as if it was fixed. Just a little thing of keeping the money in the county more than anything. So our capital projects start again at £5,000, of which we can support you with, but also for fixed assets we can actually go up to £10,000. So again, we work with you depending on what your priority is and what that looks like and what you need. Another area, though, that's effective and beneficial to all of us is, of course, carbon reduction and our journey to net zero. So because of that, there is a lot of projects we get involved in with regards to looking at alternative renewable sources for businesses, and pleased to hear a lot of organisations already doing that. But what we do is we can go up to £20,000 in relation to supporting those types of grants. The amount is based on CO2 emissions. As you can see, I'm not reading through the slides. As you're getting copies of the slides afterwards, hopefully it will give you all the information that you need. But the final grant that we have is for larger capital projects, and we can go up to a maximum of £50,000. The reason the larger ones we will do is basically because of the economic benefit. I hate to say this, but if it's not just about you, but it is about your colleagues, your businesses, your partners, which we've heard a lot about today, and collaboration. When we're talking about infrastructure projects, who's actually building it? Are they other local East Riding businesses? If you have building a new outlet, a retail outlet, who's stocking it? Is it other local business foods? If that's the case, we recognise that the grants we give aren't only beneficial to yourself, but of course it's still making that wider benefit to the wider economy. And therefore, that is the reason why we will go for additional funding and go for much wider funding to be available for you. So that's a whistle-top tour with regard to the services for you individually. But what I wanted to do is also bring it back to what we've been talking today, and that is the fact of it's not just about individuals, it's also about how you work in collaboration and with partners. So I just wanted to highlight two because I thought they were very relevant today. You've heard from both of them, but we work in collaboration very much to ensure that we have a joined up service. As East Riding, and you've heard from East Riding a lot today, and it's East Riding from the Rural Partnership to VHAY, etc. We need to make sure that we use any funding we get in the most effective joined up way that we possibly can, that we minimise duplication wherever we can, and we give best value for money. And yes, sorry, I do work for council, and it is best value for money when we're talking to businesses. So we do that through simplified levels of access and working collaboratively with others. The first one is Will and the VHAY team. Won't go into any detail, put it politely, he's gone through it all already, but a lot of the things that we talk about and Will talked about in line with how they're supporting businesses going forward, that is through collaboration also with ourselves to ensure that we offer the full service and we do it collectively as much as we possibly can. So there's various things that we've talked about, workshops, one-to-one support, ensuring that the two organisations are very clearly linked. And if you become a member of VHAY, you're automatically a member and get access to the business support team as well, and vice versa if you are a tourism hospitality business. What I was going to just say is one good example of the VHAY side that we've just done is some of you will have been on the workshops that we did during English Tourism Week. Again, funded through the business support team, but working collaboratively based on the needs of the visitor economy and how that looks. The other one, of course, is, and Julia kindly mentioned this at the beginning, ultimately these sort of events. Our whole thing is about networking, like we said, collaboration, networking, and you're learning from each other. So what we need to do and what we want to do going forward, of course, is do a lot more of these types of events where we can do it as a joint scenario and ensuring that we in turn develop resources that are beneficial to particular groups and networks as well. One of the other things that we do, and one of the things I sort of want to finish with, and hopefully I've done it a lot quicker for you, is the supply chain network. We've talked a lot today about partnerships. Through the business support team, we developed something called the supply chain network a number of years ago. And at this moment, it is just going through a bit of a relaunch. And the reason it's going through a relaunch is two specific areas. Number one is what we want to do is ensure that we sell you as our businesses, but also make you, our businesses, aware of opportunities that you could be involved in. So the new website will have two resources on it, a directory which will be totally free of charge for you to be able to put your business on, but there will also be a map of opportunities with the big organisations or you as organisation, if you're looking for suppliers, being able to post those opportunities accordingly. So just a little couple of things with regard to supplier directory and what's happening with it at the moment. Hopefully we're going to have a much improved functionality and filters for you so you can search by other businesses yourself and see who you may want to work with. We'll have a simple registration process. It's not about lots of hard work and loads of filling in. It's about just making sure that you're aware of other businesses in the area and we're aware of you. And also ensuring that you can also create your favourites. So again, it will be a lot more user-friendly for your benefit. What we will say, somebody turned around to us and said, well, if you're going to do a supplier directory, is it as good as Google? We don't have as much money as Google, sorry. We would really like it to be, but we don't have the money. So on that basis, our viewpoint is, it's not bad. It's not far off it. But what we will say, it's about being local. It's about being regional and ensuring that we're promoting each other, which all of you are doing, or a lot of you are doing on that basis as well anyway. The other side of it is, though, an opportunities map. When we talk about organisations, big organisations coming into the area, as businesses, are you aware of what their supply chain looks like? Are you aware of the opportunities that you could apply for and what they are? So we are working tirelessly with other departments within the council and through the team to get as much information as we can on those different big suppliers, what they are looking for, and getting that message out to you as quickly as possible. But also using the map for you yourselves to post opportunities on there. So if you are looking at doing a new build and you want some builders or you need whatever, put it politely, free access, put it on there as well. You never know, you may get some extra local people who you will never be aware of being able to come forward and work from it. The new map and the new supply chain site is due to be launched in June. We're doing little bits and pieces from that, but what we do have is just a very, very quick video just to show you, hopefully, what it looks like going forward. So, last thing from me is the fact of we are a flexible service. We want to work with businesses, we do work with businesses, but we are flexible by looking and working with you based on your needs. So, put it politely, help us to help you. We only can help if we know about you, we talk to you, but also as a network, understanding what the needs are collectively across sectors as well as individually. So on that basis, please do contact us, have a conversation with myself or Catherine, and thank you for your time. Last but not least, I'll hand you over to Helen.
Well, thank you. It's my task today to make the closing remarks. It won't take long, I promise. Lunch is beckoning. It will be delicious, of that I have no doubt. And we're all ready to enjoy some locally produced treats, I am sure. So I'm not going to keep you very long. Just one or two points I want to make. Firstly, I'd like to echo the Lord Lieutenant's opening remarks that he made earlier. Fully supportive of it all. The journey of the East Yorkshire Local Food and Rural Tourism Business Network from very humble beginnings to the effective and active partnership it is today is something which I think you can all be immensely proud of. I'd just like to cite 3 or 4 words that I feel sum up the strengths of the network. I thought long and hard about this first word, and I kept looking it up because I wasn't entirely sure, but decided to stick with it. It is a prolific network in terms of the number of businesses, more than 350, which it has brought together for mutual support. And I just ask you to think about that. 350 businesses, not totally, but primarily from the East Riding of Yorkshire. It's a huge number. You know, the network doesn't have its own resources, doesn't have its own finances, is dependent on any monies it can attract. But the network itself, because of the benefits outside funding, is clearly considered to be important. And, you know, I think that's a huge number. And I think, again, it's something we can be proud of. It's vibrant. I'm not going to go into why, because you've heard most of that during the morning, but the range of activities that it covers, again, without huge finances, the networking events, the business-to-business events, the Driffield Show support, all of the activities that you come together that are on offer is superb. And it's vibrant. I think of that, today's evidence in itself, there is no doubt. It's effective. And again, we've heard why that is the case this morning in many examples. But it's effective in its achievements. And I'm going to use the example of the annual Enjoy Local Food and Drink Guide. And as we heard earlier, 15,000 printed copies and an e-guide. It is one, probably with the tourism ones, it is one of the most popular publications that comes out of the East Riding. It flies off the shelves and we're always being asked for more. And it's into its 22nd year now, and it's growing each year. It contains a huge amount of information, so do make sure it's dispersed amongst your visitors and your customers. And I think finally the word I would use, it is resilient. And despite the unprecedented challenges of recent times, and I'm thinking in particular of the COVID pandemic, the network is still vibrant. Yes, sadly, we've lost some members along the way for a range of reasons. It's sad and that's unfortunate. But as Julia showed this morning, others have come on board and joined, and the network remains very strong. So those are just a few words that I've picked out that I think describe the network. And for me, in my day-to-day work of supporting rural communities and economies, it is one of the most successful initiatives that I think has been taken forward under the East Riding of Yorkshire Rural Strategy. I'm really proud of it. I think it's the most excellent network. So thank you all very much for your support and your input to it. Secondly, I'd just like to say some thank yous, really. Firstly, to all our presenters here today. It's been so informative, and you've made our morning so interesting and enjoyable. It's lovely to have the Lord Lieutenant coming with us, and we much appreciate that. And it's great to hear local companies on the ground and what they're achieving and what they're doing. And I've learnt a lot today, and I shall be out visiting them and eating some of the bread. So absolutely excellent. And well, the dog's a bit old now, so I won't be walking her very far, but absolutely excellent. The companies and the organisations that have come and provided such a wonderful marketplace with a wide range of useful information. If you haven't looked yet, please do go and have a look over lunchtime. To Katie and Drewtons and Freddie, to Katie, Freddie and Drewton for the excellent facilities and hospitality. And they really are excellent. You've done a great job for us this morning. I hope you'll all agree, and I'm sure you'll all agree, that our venue today could be very difficult to better it. So thank you very much for that. To our sponsors, and maybe I'm part of our sponsors, I'm not sure, but East Riding of Yorkshire Council and its business support team, and the funding that we've got to help with today's expenses from the United Kingdom Shared Prosperity Fund, the sort of levelling up monies. So thank you to those. That's really enhanced our morning for us. To Julia, I don't know where she is. Oh, she's over there hiding in the back corner. She's done the sterling job as she always does for us. She keeps us on course, and thank you, Julia. I know how hard the task is that you do and how much you put into it, and as your manager, I hugely appreciate it, so thank you for that. And then last but certainly not least, to all of you for coming today and for showing your support. It really is greatly appreciated. This event always has a buzz. It wouldn't have a buzz if it wasn't for you coming, so thank you very much. It's greatly appreciated by myself and the team. So, finally, please keep up the good work. It is important, it's critically important, and especially in these challenging and uncertain times, to support our local producers and our hospitality sector, and by doing that, to support the rural economy of the East Riding of Yorkshire. So please keep up the good work. It's a great job you're doing. So that's really all I want to say, but just before you head off to lunch, I believe we're going to launch the new Enjoy Local Food and Drink Guide. And following this, Julia has asked me to ask all the presenters to come to the stage so we can have some photographs taken. Thank you.